There's a certain kind of pain that doesn't come from strangers. It comes from someone who once knew you. Someone who knew your secrets, your fears, your dreams, and then decided to use all of that against you. That's the kind of pain I went through. And if you've ever trusted the wrong person, you'll understand exactly how this story feels. It started with love, or at least something that looked a lot like it. I met Daniel when I was 24. He was confident, charming, the kind of guy who could walk into a room and instantly become the center of attention. And somehow, he chose me. At the time, I felt lucky. Looking back, that was my first mistake. The first few months were perfect. Late-night conversations, surprise dates. He'd bring me coffee in the morning, text me good night every single night. He made me feel seen, important, safe. But what I didn't realize back then was that some people don't love you. They study you. Daniel paid attention to everything. My childhood stories, my insecurities, the mistakes I regretted, the people I trusted. At the time, I thought he cared. Now I know he was collecting information. The shift didn't happen all at once. It was slow, subtle. He started making little comments. "You're too sensitive. Are you sure you remember that correctly? I think you're overreacting." At first I brushed it off. But over time, those words started to sink in. I began to question myself, my memory, my emotions, my reality. Then came the control. He didn't like my friends. Said they were bad influences. He didn't trust my coworkers. Said they were probably talking behind my back. And somehow, he always positioned himself as the only person I could rely on. That should have been a red flag. But when you're in it, you don't see the trap. The relationship ended the way these relationships usually do. Messy. Explosive. I finally stood up for myself. I told him I was done. And for a brief moment, I felt free. But freedom didn't last long. Because Daniel wasn't the type of person who lets things go. He was the type who needed to win. It started with whispers. Mutual friends stopped replying to my messages. Coworkers started acting different, cold, distant. Then one night a friend finally told me the truth. "Hey, I think you should see this." She sent me a link, and what I saw made my stomach drop. It was a post, a long, detailed story about me, except it wasn't true, not even close. According to Daniel's version, I was toxic, manipulative, unstable. He claimed I lied constantly, cheated on him, and even tried to ruin his life. And the worst part? People believed him. The post had thousands of views, hundreds of comments, strangers calling me names, people who had never met me, judging me, attacking me, destroying my reputation. I felt sick, angry, helpless. It's a strange feeling, watching your identity get rewritten by someone else, especially when they know exactly which lies will hurt you the most. For days, I didn't know what to do. I wanted to respond, to defend myself, to tell the truth, but every time I started typing, I stopped. Because I knew something. If I reacted emotionally, I'd play right into his narrative. So instead, I waited, and I started thinking. You see, Daniel made one critical mistake. He assumed I was still the same person he manipulated. He assumed I was weak, that I would panic, that I would break. But he forgot something. I knew him too. I knew his patterns, his habits, his lies. And most importantly, I had proof. Not because I planned this, but because something in me always felt off during the relationship. So I kept things, messages, emails, voicemails, screenshots, little pieces of truth that didn't make sense back then. But now, they told a very different story. I didn't rush. I didn't post anything immediately. Instead, I spent days organizing everything, building a timeline, connecting the dots, making sure every claim I made was backed by evidence. Because this wasn't about revenge anymore. Truth. and taking back control of my own story. When I was ready, I posted. Not a rant, not an emotional outburst, but a calm, detailed, fact-based response. I started with a simple sentence. I didn't want to do this. But after seeing what's being said about me, I have no choice but to share the truth. Then I laid everything out, one by one. The messages where Daniel admitted to lying, the times he contradicted his own story, the moments he tried to manipulate me, the evidence that showed he was the one cheating, not me. I didn't attack his character. I just presented facts, screenshots, dates, receipts, and then I waited. At first, nothing happened, but slowly, people started reading, really reading. The comments began to change. Questions turned into doubts. Doubts turned into realizations. Wait, this doesn't add up. He literally said the opposite here. Why would he lie about this? And then, the shift happened. People started turning on him. The same audience that believed his story was now seeing the truth, and they didn't like what they saw. His post suddenly didn't look so convincing anymore. Within 48 hours, he deleted it. But it was too late, because the internet never forgets. Screenshots of his lies were already circulating. People were sharing my post, discussing it, breaking it down. And just like that, the narrative changed. I wasn't the villain anymore. He was. But here's the thing. The real victory wasn't watching him lose. It was something much quieter. It was waking up one morning and realizing I wasn't afraid anymore. Not of him, not of his lies, not of what people might think, because I knew the truth. And for the first time in a long time, I trusted myself again. Daniel tried to destroy my reputation, but in the end, he exposed himself. And me? I didn't just get my story back, I rewrote it. Sometimes the best revenge isn't destroying someone, it's letting the truth do it for you.